What's going on? The Unify America challenge. So essentially what happens here is that you sign up for the challenge on their website, and once you sign up, then you would have to wait a few days depending on when you sign up. And you get to also pick the day when you want to have the challenge. From my experience, what this challenge really is that you get paired up with another student from a different community college or university, and you guys have to talk about different topics that, of course, they're very, very political topics, and they're topics that are kind of, been debated for quite a long time, and are still a really big issue that's pretty much going on in the nation right now. Essentially, you guys are just sharing ideas and opening up to someone else's point of view, and also the other person is opening up to your point of view. So it's pretty much a whole conversation. That's literally what it is. So the person that I was paired up with was another female student. Interestingly enough, this person was a political science major, so they are definitely very passionate about it. I don't know where she was from, but she went to a different college, like up north, and I live all the way down here in the south. 305. One thing that I see a lot happening, with a lot of people, is that they tend to feel as if they don't really want to open up to these topics, because I guess maybe what you see in the internet, you look at those discussions on the internet. Let's say YouTube. There's a really popular YouTube channel. It's called Jubilee, and I've been watching it a lot ever since the whole election season was coming in at around maybe September, October, more or less, of 2024. And I've been seeing a lot of those middle ground debates. And so what happens is, in those videos, you would see one person going against 20 people. And so right in front of them, there's another chair. And then they're surrounded by a bunch of chairs. And that's where all the other people of the opposing point of view have to jump into that empty chair and pretty much just have a conversation, have a debate. A lot of times, those debates go south. It is bad. They start fighting each other like little children. Now, obviously they don't fist fight, but they tend to, they can't really keep that conversation going. It goes from a debate all the way to an argument, attacking the other person because of this and that. Then childish stuff. I guess a lot of people tend to be afraid of that exact thing happening, and so it's kind of stressful to even talk about it, because there are some people like that who are not really open-minded, who do not want to hear you out. It's kind of like, oh, they're just there to win the argument, but they don't want to hear the opposing side. But as for me, I didn't really feel like much emotion, because I was thinking like, okay, I have a meeting later, but maybe I can use a little quick conversation and skip the time. I kind of needed it for another assignment, for another class. So, but based on the emotions that I was feeling, before, I was like, we're gonna have a conversation, I just whatever, see what happens. I'm talking to another student, so I mean, it shouldn't be too bad. I mean, we're supposed to have a back and forth talk, just get comfortable, whatever. And so during the conversation, there was a lot of interesting things, and we tend to agree on a lot of things. And funny enough, after we finished our conversation, turns out we were like completely opposite political parties. Like, the fact that we were able to agree on everything. And a lot of people tend to limit political views to just left and just right, but then where's the middle ground? There's got to be some sort of spot where you lean mostly towards right, or that was my left. You lean mostly towards left, or you lean mostly towards right, or sometimes there's like the central part where it's just you have your own political views. And of course, I mean, I did encounter, let's say, a moment where I just felt like it wasn't right for me to answer because I have a really strong opinion about a lot of things, but at the same time, I can't really comment on some things because sometimes it'll really apply to me, or I just feel like they don't apply to me. Like, for example, the topic of abortion, I kind of felt, I can't really comment on this, and so I kind of just put it in the best way that I could, and just continue on with the conversation. Nothing crazy, because there are some topics where maybe people will feel uncomfortable talking about, and that's totally okay. Another thing I want to know is that whenever a lot of people tend to have a different political ideology based on maybe they grew up in a family where they have that same point of view, or maybe they have a lot of friends that share similar points of views. The way the political issues were discussed, definitely done a little bit more professionally, because we are students, and we have to keep it as professional as possible. We were open-minded about things, open to new ideas or ideas that are completely diverse. It went pretty smooth. It was interesting to talk to someone who has those differences, and a lot of people tend to be scared of that because, okay, I'm a little bit different, but I don't want to talk about how different I am because I feel like I might get bullied. I might get this might happen to me, and then it just becomes a whole discriminatory thing. After taking this challenge, my hopes for the future of this country haven't really changed at all. Probably because I'm a really hopeful person, but it kind of comes to my faith. I tend to make the best out of everything, even if it's like something happens and it heavily affects me, but I tend to make the best out of everything, mainly because when I first came into this country, I mean, I had access to everything even before I came here, but the fact that I was able to go to school, the fact that I was able to get an education, get a degree without having to pay a dime, is something that was really interesting to me, is that, I was able to go to school and I was getting money for it, and that allowed me to, pretty much continue on with my education without having to worry about getting a job, without having to worry about finances, and then my mom is just providing for me. My family is helping me out, and that's like one of the many things that I'm grateful for, especially for this country. I was able to get a degree. I would faithfully serve this country. I've gotten so many things out of it. Even if people tend to, go against each other, because we see a lot of people going against each other, it's ridiculous, but I love society, and service is definitely one of my big things. Overall, this challenge is definitely a great experience, especially for people who are a little bit more passionate about political science, or want to get into law, and they kind of want to just open up to these different topics. It's definitely a great experience for those students who have that drive, who want to get into that space of being a politician or whatever it is. It's definitely beneficial for your resume, and it kind of just helps you build confidence and your own point of view as well.